Good morning. I'm Tony, and welcome to another episode of Teaching a Lion to Sing. Today we're going to go back and revisit a topic that I had a couple of months ago, and that's the relationship between domestic violence, the victims, the abusers, and the system as a whole. I'm going to take my hat off on this one. Also, I'm going to be joined today by my little friend here. We're going to call him Jerry the Gerbil or Gerbil or whatever you want to call him, but he's going to join me today. Our episode, A Coward is a Coward. We're going to call it what it is. So let's begin. The advocacies and the judicial system that we have become accustomed to address the needs of our victims of domestic violence, they're good. Not perfect, but good. And they do a great job with the victims. But what about the cowards? The perpetrators, the abusers, both men and women, who want to be the top dog. They want to be the alphas. These abusive cowards, perpetrators, want to be leaders. They want dominance through violence. Through dominance, through fear. Who do they try to dominate? They try to dominate vulnerable adults and vulnerable children. Now, after I post this episode, just look at the comments. Those with negative comments are possibly guilty of being these cowards. Question: who is capable of stopping these cowards from abusing? I believe, in my opinion, those that could help stem the violence and put some of these people in their place are going to be what I call type A men and women. A real type A man or woman, they know how to lead, they know how to nurture, and they know how to correct. They have the mental and physical stability and capability to control the behavior of those wannabe type A's. Now, during my tenure as a DV advocate, I've gone to several DV conferences where I've noticed the makeup of the conference itself, the people that are in attendance. And they tend to be, number one, strong women. They're the leaders of the conference. They usually put them together. Then you have domestic violence victims themselves who have gone through programs who want to be a part of the solution, which is great. And third, you have type B men. There's nothing wrong with the type B man, but they tend to be a little submissive. They tend to allow others to take control and lead, and they're more of a support group. Again, nothing wrong with it, great. But just what do strong men and women and past victims and these type B men have in common with the abusive person? The abuser, the abusive person we're talking about, they hate all three of these groups. The abuser hates strong men, they hate strong women, they hate past victims, and they think type B men are weak. And we're not saying type B men are weak, but to an abuser, a type B man tends to be passive. Non-confrontational is a better way to put it. Now, in the framework of domestic violence, the policies that are put in place are generally created by these same individuals. The policies that address the abuser are put together by strong women, past victims, and type B passive men. All three are literally loathed by the abuser. And you ask yourself, why does this even matter? You would initially think this is a good thing. Well, ask a victim. Ask a victim of DV if aggravating an abuser with a policy that's been put in place by everybody that they hate is a good thing. Again, after the abuser is integrated into this system that's been put in place by the people that they hate and forced to do things that he or she doesn't want to do, who is the abuser going to take it out on? They just got released from jail. Are they really rehabilitated, or are they mad? What's his or her next move? How is this abuser that's just been released going to release that anger that's been built up inside? They're not going to be so much confrontational with the women that put it in place. They're not going to be so much confrontational with the victims of past domestic violence. And they're really not going to be confrontational with type B men that support these efforts. But the anger is still there. They're not going to see it, but the anger is still there. Who's going to see that anger? At the very first opportunity, the abuser is going to take that anger out on the very person they blame for his or her situation. Their mindset is now, I've gone through all of this. Somebody's going to pay. I'm going to teach you. The abuse starts to grow. Recidivism is born. He's going to stop the victim from putting him in this situation again, once and for all. Who are the abusers afraid of? Again, who can help stop this pattern of abuse, repeated abuse, directed towards the victim who they blame puts them in this system? Let's remember who they are. They're cowards. Yes, they're cowards. They're afraid of the individuals that I see very little of. I don't see these people in these conferences that I go to as being part of the solution. And I'm talking about type A men. Type A men, real men, that lead by example, not fear. They use their hands to build, not to fight. Unless they are defending their family or other loved ones. That's what their hands are good for. Not to come home and tear up things or put their hands on the people that they call themselves loving. Earlier, when I mentioned the lack of a type A man at these DV conferences, I believe type A men feel just a little bit uncomfortable at these meetings. I believe the environment itself is a little bit uncomfortable. Type A men tend to have a difficult time showing and sharing compassion. They have a softer side, but unless you're in their immediate family, most people don't see the softer side of a type A man. Compassion, sympathy, and even empathy are characteristics that make these conferences very special. And this is what we need from these type A men to bring to the table. Type A men not only need to be present at these meetings, but more importantly, they need to understand, catch this one, they need to understand that they also play an unintentional role when they enable the abuser to exist in the quest for dominance. Yes, a type A man that does all the great things we want them to do. And even if you're not a type A man, you could be a type B, man or woman, but you play a role when you enable these abusers to do what they do. And how do they enable them to do it? Every abuser has a comfort zone, a safe place, a place and people that become the abuser's place of solace. Many men and women provide this place of solace. They hang out with them in groups. They go drinking with them. They have parties with them, or just playing normal everyday games. These abusive individuals hang out with other people. Now, every group, you're going to be part of that group. I'm talking to the audience now. Every group has one person that he or she has the potential, has a person that has the potential to be an abuser, or they are an abuser. Yet, people in the group, and a lot of you know who this person is. You don't want to say it, but you know who this person is. But we're quiet. Let's finish the game. Let's go to the party. Let's do what we do and go home. They're going to ignore what's in front of them. That this person is probably beating on somebody or has the potential to beat on someone. But as long as that's not in my house, I'm going to keep quiet. Now let's go, type A's. You need to step up. And that same courage that I know you have, because you exhibit that courage at work, at home, and in general public. When it's time for you to lead, you lead. And you lead by example. It's the quiet time when I need you to step up and say what needs to be said. Let's not allow the abuser to hide in plain sight. Let's teach that wayward lion how to sing. If you know an abusive situation has occurred, by all means, provide the victim a means of escape and then notify the police. Real-time emergencies, you need to call 911. On all the other occasions, use your discretion. Let's make sure we don't put the victim in a worse situation where they have to be in between the police and the abusers. We want to help them without allowing the abuser to escape accountability as well. So yes, if you know something's going on, notify somebody. Notify an advocacy. Notify the police. You notify anyone you need to notify. You don't have to stand up and be that person to put hands on and stop the abuse. But you can be the catalyst to get the ball rolling. In part 2 of this segment that I'm going to do on a later date, we're going to discuss the dynamics and a little bit deeper dynamics of how this relationship between the advocacies, the abusers, and the victims, and the way we try to rehabilitate the victim plays out. That's going to be a very good conversation piece, and I hope to have a special guest when I do it, because when we go into the dynamics of the whole situation, we're going to talk about policies that's been put in place, the way you read some of these policies, and when I read them to you, try as best you can to put yourself in the place of an abuser. And then you ask yourself, as I read these policies out to you, how are you taking that? Are you taking that as you're trying to help me to rehabilitate? Or are you blaming me for a situation? And now once I get through listening to you blame me for a situation, guess what? Recidivism, right back in the forefront. And I'm going to find this person that initiated all of this in my mind and put me in this terrible situation. So I ask you to stand by for part 2 of Teaching a Lion to Sing, and a coward is a coward. We're going to call it what it is. Thank you. Come join us again on YouTube and Facebook under Teaching a Lion to Sing.